Good evening, Specialist Urlacher. Today we're going to be going over leadership in the Army profession. Before we begin the class, I'd like to knock out a few admin things. Our overall risk level today is low. Environmental considerations is we are a green Army, so reduce, reuse, recycle. Physical security, in case of an active shooter, we will run and then hide, and if we cannot do any of that, then we'll fight if it comes to that. Alrighty. Today we're going to go over different types of leadership, toxic versus radioactive, the Army profession. Leadership, the action of leading a group or people or an organization. To me personally, a leader is someone that you can depend on no matter what time or day, and you can trust them. They gotta have good values, because obviously if they have bad values, they no longer are a leader and they only look out for themselves. Different types of leadership. Direct leadership. This is your face-to-face leadership that you see most often, like in your squad leaders, platoon leadership, company commanders, and possibly your first sergeants. Organizational leadership. These leaders lead hundreds to thousands of people. They're also assisted by many other leaders. For example, they would be your sergeant majors, your battalion commanders, and so forth. Strategic leadership. This is your big major command. So for example, this would be like your generals, your Secretary of Defense, your admirals, pretty much everybody at Washington and Pentagon or White House. Leadership. Leadership is about being able to depend on someone and be someone that others can follow and others that can also look up to. Teamwork is a key component in being a leader. Obviously, if you can't work as a team, you're not going to be able to be a good follower if you can't be a leader. A good analogy that I like to use as being a teamwork is you take a twig, for example, and you take one twig, you can break it pretty easily, can't you? So if you take multiple twigs, as in multiple people, it's a lot harder to break. So as in, it's a lot harder to break a team as if you all work together. Communication. Effective communication is key to being a good leader. So you need to communicate to all your lower enlisted. Make sure, play old school phone. Kind of like make sure that message gets relayed down to the lowest level. And check and make sure that message gets relayed accurately and effectively. Without communication, it's pretty hard to work as a team, because if you don't communicate with everybody, you all can't work together and work on a very common goal to get a single job done. Toxic leadership versus radioactive leadership. Toxic leadership is more of a self-absorbed person. They don't really see the point in helping others. They're pretty self-centered kind of people, and they just generally don't like to help, and they're pretty secluded. Pretty much like to sit in their office all day and send out orders via paper or text message. They're not really face-to-face. Then we have radioactive leadership. Radioactive leadership is leaders that can cause long-lasting damage and can spread like a virus. Because radioactive leadership is more of a learned behavior. So say you got a company commander that doesn't like to lead from the front. He likes to lead from his desk and give orders from there. You probably it's probably that behavior is going to come learned down to your platoon leadership because they learned from him. The only way we can change this type of leadership is just becoming a better person. The Army profession. One of the biggest components of the Army profession is Army values. We have loyalty. If you're not loyal to your troops, then they ain't gonna be loyal back to you. We have duty and respect. If you don't respect your troops, they just generally not gonna really give a shit about anything. Selfless service and honor. If you don't take pride in what you're trying to do as a leader and what you're trying to accomplish as a goal, it comes back working as a team. Integrity and personal courage. Integrity is a big one for leadership, in my opinion. If you can't do the right thing when nobody's looking, then you don't deserve to be a leader, because you can't expect your Joes to do the right thing if you can't do the right thing yourself. Professionalism, discipline, commitment, and skill. As a leader, you got to be one of the most disciplined and skilled people out there. So take, for instance, your platoon sergeant. Everybody in your platoon looks up to your platoon sergeant, for example, because he's the most skilled and most experienced person there. As a conclusion, most good leaders like to lead from the front. And when they lead from the front, you're also leading by example. When you lead by example, it will have a trickle-down effect, and your Joe next to you will want to lead better also. And then the Joe next to him will want to lead and take charge. Being better leaders to create better leaders for tomorrow. That just goes along with the learned behavior. Because if you lead by example, it will also be a learned behavior and go along to the next person, be like a virus, hopefully. Qualities, actions, and values. Just remembering your Army values as a leader is one of the biggest important things. That's all I have for today. Do we have any questions?